Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I am back with another post-fight discussion video. All right, y'all. Katlyn Chookagian versus Viviane Araujo. First off, I have to say, look, this fight, it was very competitive. And after watching it like 3 times, I really feel like it could have gone either way. I mean, it really all comes down to what you look for. And that's why I felt like, look, Viviane had to go in there and make a big statement. She had to go in there and shut down everything Katlyn had to offer because what Katlyn does, it may not look effective in the fans' eyes, but that's not the thing. Look, it is effective. It's just not exciting in the casual fans' eyes. But what Katlyn Chookagian is doing in there, it really can neutralize a fighter and it can frustrate the hell out of him. And that's the number one thing. It frustrates the hell out of him. Like, I've seen this in boxing many times. Fighters with this type of awkward approach, it's just so chaotic that you don't know how to handle it. Like, Katlyn Chookagian is not a fighter that packs a punch. At least you know what you're dealing with a fighter that packs a punch. You know what to neutralize. But with her, it's the feet moving, it's the hands moving, it's the feints, it's the angles. She's just fighting at such a chaotic pace that these fighters, they don't know what to do with that. And I felt like that was going to be Viviane's problem in this. Like, Viviane, she's a sharpshooter and she's faster, but I've seen the issues she's had in the past, and that's why I kept saying in my pick it was going to be a very close decision that she was going to win. And in my eyes, I felt like Viviane, after watching it again, I felt like Viviane definitely did win a close decision in the fashion that I felt like she won. Like, everything she did was how she was going to win as far as the pace. Like I said, my prediction, Katlyn was going to dictate the pace early and land, and then somewhere in the mid part, Viviane was going to get, she was going to try to level up and win a round, but then by the third, she was going to fade, and that's what happened. So going into this fight here, Viviane, she just had to really step up her game and look for a finish. You can't take a fighter like Katlyn Chookagian, who's a point fighter and a distance fighter, the distance. You can't take them the distance. And, yeah, I just feel like overall, though, Katlyn Chookagian did enough in the judges' eyes to win, and I can't argue that. I feel like Viviane won, but sometimes when I watch it, I'll say, hey, look, Katlyn Chookagian, oh, yeah, she won that. I definitely can say Viviane let the fight slip. But we'll talk about more in a minute. Like I said, I just wanted to come back through and give you my full round-by-round analysis on how I felt like the fight went. And, yeah, just kind of go from there and, see how y'all felt in the comments. We talked about it in the live stream last night. But, yeah, we'll talk about it again, man. These close fights, they always give you some type of conversation to talk about, especially if you're a fight fan like me. I'm going to go back and break it down as many times as I want, maybe even do a live commentary on the fight, because that's how it is with close fights. There are going to be people, wanting to discuss these type of controversial decisions in their eyes, So real quick, man, the first round, right away, Viviane Araujo, I felt like she was doing a good job of leading, keeping the center of the octagon, putting the pressure on with those feints, sticking the right hand to the body and landing a good solid jab upstairs. She was able to snap Katlyn's head back. You could see the stiffness and the difference in the shots from Viviane to Katlyn. But Katlyn's touch and go style, it was already fine in the rhythm. I feel like Viviane, she was landing good right hands to the body, and she did land a combination of good right hand to the body, left hook to the head in the pocket. And she was landing her overhand right. She was landing a good, effective overhand right, but Katlyn was landing those little flurries. She was landing those little flurries. She landed a nice left hook of her own and a good right hand of her own. But overall, I feel like Viviane Araujo, she was just doing a good job in the pocket of landing those single overhand rights. But to me, she really needed to follow up with some leg kicks. I didn't see any establishment of leg kicks in this first round. Katlyn was just doing her thing, throwing those flurries, and she wasn't running this time. That was the thing. Like I said, my keys to victory. Katlyn Chookagian, she cannot run. She can just kind of step back and use angles so she can still get off the full extension of her shots, and she was committing to that. And then Katlyn was doing this little thing with her open hands, like using these little feints, and again, that kind of throws these fighters off. It's kind of an awkward style, but Viviane Araujo, at first, she didn't really let that get to her. She came in, landed, stuck Katlyn with another overhand right. She stuck her with another right hand to the body, and I was liking these shots. Viviane Araujo was sticking to a good shot, sticking to good, efficient shots. But, I felt like Katlyn, she was throwing out work, but still missing, but still touching with combinations, and able to land that front kick. She was finding a home for her front kick. By I'd say like a minute and 30 left in the round, I had Viviane ahead. I just feel like she was landing the more crisp shots, the right hands and the left hooks were landing. But I will say that Katlyn, she was landing and connecting with her jabs in that last part of the minute. She was connecting with more shots in a row, consecutive shots, connecting jabs, front kicks, and then she threw like 5-6 shots in a row and landed. Finally, Viviane, she went in for a clinch to slow the pace. landed some good knees in the clinch in the last 30 seconds. I had to give it to Viviane, though, because I was looking at those nice, effective shots that she was doing, landing. You know, left hook did a little bit of damage on the eye of Katlyn. So I just felt like she was doing good, but there were parts in there where I said, I think she might have let it slip. You know, she might have let it slip because she wasn't putting enough together. But I did give it to her, but it could have went either. First round could have went either way. The second round, Katlyn, she came out playing the feint game. You know, touching and moving out at angles, flicking out shots. She threw out a front kick that knocked Viviane down off balance. And it's these shots that don't do damage, but they score. They score. Finally, Viviane, she timed a nice side kick from Katlyn. She caught it, got the takedown, because Viviane, you know, the stand-up really wasn't working for her. You know, her work rate went down. She had to go to the ground. So Viviane on top, she nearly locked in a guillotine. Like, she was trying to lock in that guillotine. It looked like it was almost secured, and I know a lot of people felt like it was a tap, but I think Katlyn was just kind of trying to reach around for her other hand. And if you really look at it, it wasn't locked in. You know, Viviane, she couldn't really lock in the guillotine fully. So from there, you know, she just went back to working, landed some shots, got into a full mount, worked the body a little bit, and landed some nice body shots in this round. I will say she landed some nice right hands a la Jessica Andrade. Looked like she was trying to soften that body up. But Katlyn was able to get back up. You know, Viviane let her back up. Katlyn, she let her out in attack. As soon as she got up, she fired off shots. It was like she was pissed off and just landed a good right hand. And from there, you can see back in the center, Viviane, she was kind of gassed out, breathing through her mouth, taking heavy breaths, while Katlyn, she was sticking out those strikes. You know, that last, I'd say, minute, she was landing good punches, you know, just landing in consecutive shots again. But Viviane landed a few jabs of her own. Katlyn was playing catch up in that last minute, though. But Viviane, to me, I feel like she won the round, but it took a hell of a lot of her to win that round with that ground game. But the momentum from here, it was really favoring Katlyn. And from here, man, last round, I think it was safe to say that this was all Katlyn. You know, she opened up with jabs, threw 4, landed 2, stuck and moved, missing a lot of shots, but she's still throwing a lot of shots to make sure she can land at least something. Viviane, she's not throwing. At this point, Viviane, she's just kind of going through the motions. She's reaching and lunging with shots, fighting behind Katlyn. Viviane's finally trying to look for that finish. Looks like she's looking for a big shot, but to me, she just couldn't secure it because she wouldn't go all out. You know, Katlyn's constantly moving, touching. Whether you like it or not, these are points. You know, she was starting to put a little bit of swelling on Viviane's eye. You know, just continue to work her. And like I said, this type of style against a fighter with cardio issues, it's a nightmare. It's a complete nightmare because Viviane has no answer to the footwork. She has no answer. Like, if she tries to get a burst of energy, that's all she has. She goes right back to just kind of plodding around, waiting while Katlyn just continues to just throw punches out at different angles and just show her different things. Katlyn's fending off the takedowns at this point, swelling the eye, just landing good hard knees and landing good right hand of her own. She started sitting down on the punches by the end of the round. You know, she started putting a little bit of pop on her shot, like she wanted to look for a finish. But I think at that point she was just trying to take Viviane to school. And this is the one round where I say it was completely Katlyn. She just showed levels above Viviane in IQ in boxing. But when it came down to it, I had it 2-1 for Viviane. But I can really see where Viviane let it slip in that first round. You know, she beat herself, if you will. You know, she didn't commit enough in that first round of body work, and she didn't really try to secure the first round. And that's my thing. If you're a fighter with cardio issues, go ahead and try to bag at least 2 rounds. You know, find that rhythm, bag the first round, bag the second round, and take the last round off and just jump on your bike if that's how it's going to be. You know, if you know you have those issues, go ahead and find some type of pacing where you can secure that first round hands down and then secure that mid round and then say, hey, look, we can kind of coast from here. But, you know, you can't always do that. You know, you're going to have to work out those cardio issues because eventually you're going to be fighting for a title, right? But, hey, man, like I said, I can see where it slipped. She beat herself by not committing enough to body work, pacing herself, and cutting the octagon off. So if the judges gave it to Katlyn that first round, hey, so be it. It was 2-1 either way. But one judge had it 30-27, which that was BS right there, man. I did not see this like a complete sweep by Katlyn. Katlyn didn't do enough work to make it like a complete dominant victory. You know, overall, I think Katlyn made it competitive, and Viviane, she won some rounds, but it was just such a ugly fashion how she won it. So my eyes, Viviane won, but hey, Katlyn, hey, she took it. She took it, man. From here, honestly, I can say that if the victory had went to Viviane in this fashion, let's say if the judges did say unanimous decision for Viviane or Araujo, I would have been scared for it at this point, because you know that this fight probably would have led to a title eliminator, because Katlyn Chookagian is that gatekeeper, right? She is that number 3, right? So if she would have beat Katlyn Chookagian, more than likely Viviane Araujo would have been in lineup for a title shot. Either, you know, they would sneak it in before the Lauren JoJo fight, or it would be after the Lauren JoJo fight gets their title shot. And right there, I would have been worried, man. If she won in this fashion and they gave her the win, and then you go in against Valentina, oh man, that would spell nightmare. That would completely spell nightmare. So in more ways than one, this fight was probably a blessing in disguise for Viviane Araujo. Let's be real, because this just kind of shows you that, look, she had to go back and work on some things, you know, build up the IQ, work on her cardio, you know, maybe lose some of that muscle mass and kind of trim down so she can move around a little bit more without getting exhausted. So I think that was just a blessing in disguise, because if they gave her the decision and she goes to fight Valentina, she'd really get hurt in that fight. She'd probably get stopped inside of probably like in 2 rounds. Let's just be real, because she didn't establish any leg kicks in this fight. She was just open to be hit, and though Katlyn doesn't have the power, you know, she didn't really walk through the shots and try to land anything of her own. You know, she just gassed out, man, blew her load too early. So yeah, man, from here, Viviane Araujo, I just feel like, hey, at number 7, you know, this is a good time to just say, look, I could backtrack and work on some things against some of the lower ranked fighters, maybe mid-ranked fighters, get the work in, try to, you know, trim down as far as the muscle, and just continue to go back and do her homework, you know. Blessing in disguise, right? As for Katlyn Chookagian, once again, man, a lot of people are pissed off, but I'm like, yo, if this girl continues to do what she's doing, you can't knock her. Hey, she's here for a purpose. People are saying she's not a fighter, she's not a good fighter. Well, how come y'all's favorite fighters are below her? You know what I mean? How come all y'all favorite fighters are below the girl then? Why does she continue to get her paydays and continue to hold down this spot? Okay, we know she can't beat Andrade or Valentina, right? But everybody y'all like is below her. You know what I mean? Like, y'all fighters keep saying, hey, let's beat her, let's get her. They'll get her out of there, but she continues to take people to school with this style. And what I want to talk about real quick, which I'll talk about in another video too, what's next for Katlyn. Bringing up her boxing, I did listen to her post-fight press conference, and you know, she talked about her boxing style, and for her, it appears that what might be next for her is Alexa Grasso, somebody she called out after Alexa beat Macy Barber, right? So that fight might be on the horizon, because like she said, she beat the 3, 4, 5, and 6 and 7 in the top 10. So now she's looking to fight another top 10 fighter. So yeah, that might be a matchup there, because she was talking about her boxing skill versus Alexa Grasso's boxing skill versus Katlyn Chookagian's boxing skill. Now right there, I'm gonna have to cut Katlyn off, but I'm going to cut it off in this video, because I'm going to talk about it in another video. We're going to have to discuss the boxing skill and compare whose boxing is really better. Now, I know I'm talking about how Katlyn's boxing looks against these average strikers out there, and these strikers that don't know the fundamentals of boxing. But when it comes to Alexa Grasso, different animal, different video coming soon. Definitely, guys. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what y'all thought of the fight. Like I said, gave it to Viviane, but I saw where she let it slip, and I'm saying, look, hey, Katlyn took it. Katlyn took it. Guys, Combo Breaker 99, I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.